Boom, what's up, everybody? Got Daevon Vigilant out there in hot as hell Nebraska. Super pumped to see, like you said, right before we hit record. Let's get it. Let's have fun. Let's see where the conversation goes. But before we get going, wild or funny story. What you got?
All right, so my wildest funny story. Okay, it was a Future concert. I think Future and Migos came in town in Albuquerque. This is college,
Okay.
probably my sophomore or junior year. So this is right before we about to leave, go on break. So I had a ticket to Cali, I think at 5 p.m. So we usually practice the last day at 10 a.m. So we get a text almost the whole team is going to the concert.
Yeah.
Like majority of the team is going to the concert, linemen, everybody. We all made a plan. We're going to the concert. This is the last day before practice. We don't got much to do. It's like probably a quick lift. We're gonna be good. So we get a text at 9 o'clock. Everybody at the concert that we got practice at 5 in the morning.
Oh,
5 in the morning. So college, you're enjoying your time. Some people are intoxicated.
a little more than others.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a little more than others. So everybody was kind of late to practice that morning. We got there about 5:10. So
Yeah.
instead of like they didn't punish us, we ended up playing the game. So it all worked out. But when I say we went straight from the concert to practice, it was terrible.
That's
We was all
hilarious.
bed after. Everybody was sleeping in the locker room. But I mean, it was a great team bonding atmosphere, I would say. Everybody was late together. We all just came up with the ideas like we're gonna be late together.
Together. Yeah.
Can't punish everybody. We can't punish everybody. At least we did it as a team. So the
Yeah.
captains came together, like everything worked out smoothly. So I think that's probably one of the wildest so far in my life.
Yeah.
It was kind of crazy. It was kind of
Yeah.
crazy. We'd never had
Yeah.
practice at 5. We usually go 6:30, something like that. But 5 was
That
early.
Hell yeah, that literally reminds me in college, like one time it was like randomly like got a text from one of the coaches and it was like if you want to be a national champ, like meet me on the hill. And this was at like 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And I was like, do I want to be a national champ? Like I don't really know at this point right now. I was like, this bed feels awfully good.
I understand now.
Hell yeah, dude. That's awesome, man. Well, that's kind of segue is I love hearing about people's journey, right? And so I think like for you is I guess kind of give us the timeline, like how you've gotten up to this point, like you said, as player, now getting into player development role and like what's always intrigued you like with that. And then like the other side of that, I'm always fascinated is as people get into this, do they get in it because of like some like painful thing they experienced in their life, or was it more of something that's like, hey, I had a really good experience and I want everybody else to experience something like that? And just kind of like how your philosophy is developed in terms of like mentoring and coaching and guiding like players around the country so far.
Okay. Honestly, at first I wouldn't even say player development was my goal. That
Okay.
wasn't my goal at all. So, like most may know, I started off at University of New Mexico, played there
Okay.
for 3 years. Um, my experience was okay. It wasn't the best because I had some injuries. So my freshman year, I was starting and everything. Right before the first game, I dislocated my kneecap.
Oh, damn.
Dislocated my kneecap and tore everything in it. So that was a very setback moment for me, mentally, spiritually. Like I didn't know what was going on. Cause it's like everything you dreamed of. I'm from Compton, California. So as an inner city kid, this is everything you dream for. You're starting at a college. So that was hard for me. That was hard. So that injury took 2 years to recover from. Then that's
Damn.
when I
Yeah.
met one of my strength coaches, Steve Houston. He's actually at Colorado now. I think he was just able to get me back mentally and just get my knee back right because he was in the NFL and everything. He played in Indiana. So he was just able to help me and guide me into that life. And he was like a more of a big brother than the strength coach.
Yeah.
So I went to him with everything, relationship problems, school problems, life problems. Like he was there to help me. And still to this day, I could pick up the phone and call him. So I think
Totally.
that was one thing that was like, I didn't know player development wasn't around at the time, but now that I'm in the position, I see what he did for me. It's like, dang, that's pretty cool. Like now I can
Yeah.
do that to somebody else. So spent 4 years at New Mexico, did a year recruiting at New Mexico. So the goal was to be a recruiter. That's what it was fun to me. It
Ah,
was
yeah.
that was the main goal. I wanted to be a recruiter. I thought about the coaching route. At the time, I was being a GA. I was doing recruiting and helping with the quarterbacks. I'll be honest with you. I'll be honest with everybody. The reason I didn't want to be a coach, they made me break down the LSU film with Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson every catch,
Yeah.
and they didn't watch it. So I was like, yeah, I'm cool. I can't do this. I stayed till like midnight. I was like, yeah, this is too much hard work. I gotta miss time off. I gotta miss time with my friends. Like, I get, it's hard being a GA, but it's like, yeah, I can't do this.
Yeah.
I stick to
Yeah.
the recruiting. I watch film all day. Y'all want me to evaluate a player? I go do that. Y'all want me to go somewhere? I could do that. That's easy. It's just football.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
football building connections. So then I end up going to West Virginia,
Hell
which is
yeah. Cheers,
so
beers,
crazy.
Mountaineers.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Which is so crazy because if you know West Virginia, it is not a lot of black people out there at all. So when I was telling people about it, they was like, "Are you sure?" I was like, "Yeah, I think it's gonna be a great opportunity for me. It's gonna be a great
Yeah.
opportunity."
Yeah.
So I actually got into student athlete development at first. So instead of recruiting, I was doing student athlete development, which I've never heard of because we didn't have it at the time in New Mexico. So it was something new. I think one thing about me, I'm always challenging myself. I want to try different things. I think if you're not taking a risk, you're not living life to the fullest.
Totally.
That's always what I believed in. So I think student athlete development was good for me because then it helped me learn about player development because West Virginia had it.
Yeah.
I was able to help out on that side, then help out in the recruiting side with West Virginia. So that all worked out. That all worked out for me. Then I end up getting a job at Western Michigan. So I had a cup of coffee at Western Michigan. Then now we're here.
Yeah.
Nebraska.
Yeah. I want to go back to WVU a little bit is because you like when you said you're like, man, there's not a whole lot of black people in West Virginia. So interesting point is like, how did that how did that open your mind up like culturally? Because here's the reason I ask is I'm originally from Birmingham, Alabama. And when I went to WVU, it was a massive culture shock because like everyone's just like really blunt, right? Like being from like the South,
Yeah.
everybody's like, let me open the door for you, kind of type thing. And everybody was like, get up there. And everybody's like, fuck you, man. I was like, oh my God, right? Like, and so like I always tell people, it's like it literally one of the best things that environment like did for me. It was like it made me thicken up my skin, right?
Yeah.
Because like people just said how it was, like because in that area of the country, that northeastern area, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, Ohio, like New York, New Jersey, it's like people just spoke what they thought, and that was very new for me. And so I always define my experience there. It's like that was very big from like a personal like growth standpoint being in there. And so I'm curious of like how did that culture, like if at all, like shape you, help you out in any way?
Oh, I would not be here without West Virginia. West
That's
Virginia
fun.
made me understand what being comfortable and uncomfortable is. Like I
Yeah.
could be comfortable in uncomfortable situations. It helped me.
Yeah.
Like I realized I could be me. I didn't have to
Yeah.
be who I was. Like I could just be me. And if I can't be me, then I don't need to be there.
Yeah.
West,
Yeah.
West Virginia is a great place. I think everybody should visit. You should go to a game. You should go to a Pitt game. I think seeing the West Virginia and Pitt atmosphere, I was like, wow, this is college football. It,
Yeah.
it is. It is.
People,
It's a great place.
yeah.
Great
People
place.
don't know or people like just how buzzword, but like passionate those people are. Because when I was there, that was the year the football team played Auburn 2 years. So Auburn came to us, and then we went to Auburn. And at the time, I had a friend who was a cheerleader at Auburn. And after the game, when they visited, she texted me and she was like, of every SEC place I've ever been to, she was like, y'all are the most ruthless fans I've ever been around, like in my entire life. And I was
Couch
like, that
burning and
about
all.
sums it
That's
up.
real. The couch burning, that is real. That is not made up.
Yeah.
That is real.
I
I
think
think
one year, or go ahead.
I think the only bad part about West Virginia is the hills. Hills at
Yeah.
nighttime. I mean, if you can't see at nighttime, I would not suggest going there because it's scary. You might fall off a cliff. I hate to say it, it is very scary.
Yeah. Actually, another funny story when they were playing that game, I had a buddy who was coming up, and so I let him stay with me at our house. And so he went to the game. I was already back at my house, and like I didn't see him like for forever. And he finally got back home, and he was like, dude, I got like some funny stories for you. He couldn't figure out how to get back to our house. So he was asking everybody. and they saw that he had an Auburn shirt on. So they were intentionally sending him the wrong direction until he finally figured it out and like zipped up a jacket and was like, started asking people and then was able to like figure out like how to like navigate like back to our house. But he was like, dude, like everyone was like total asshole to us because they were sending us in the wrong direction.
What's his name?
Yeah. Yeah. Wild, wild. Going back to your injury too, like when you were in college is I think like, cause you touched on like, there was an element that like you had to deal with that like mentally. And then you had kind of your first mentor. What was his name? Steve? Is that was?
Yep.
Yeah. And then he kind of like helped like guide you through that process. Is for you, like what was the mental hurdle to get over, right? Like what was it that he kind of like helped shine a light for you on? Like was it just stress and overwhelmed? Was it like sadness? Was it, you know, like an identity crisis of like, what am I going to do now that I don't have football? What were some of those things that like he really like shined light on for you?
Um, definitely identity crisis. Definitely identity crisis, and really just trusting my knee. I think the identity crisis was the biggest one though, because it's
Yeah.
like, what am I without football?
Yeah.
This is all I've known. But I will say the injury was the best thing that happened to me. I know
Funny.
a lot of people don't say that, but like I was able to get involved. I became a senator. I joined the fraternity. I became the president of my fraternity. I started volunteering, doing community
Yeah.
service. So it was the best thing that happened to me because like it just made me understand that I'm more than just football.
Yeah.
Now that I'm in this position, I could tell people like you can do both. It's
Yeah.
honestly easy. We just don't feel like we got enough time, and we really do. It's 24 hours in a day. We got to use them
Yeah.
some way somehow.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Well, and it's funny too, is I just got back from talking with like a group of kids at a camp, and I was like, I, I was spent like 2.5 days with them. And like the second day, I was like, how many of you guys did what I told you to do last night? I was like, zero. And so I was like, how many of you guys will ever do this? And I was like, probably zero. And I was like, but here's the thing. And then like one of the kids like mumbled under their breath and they were just like, oh, I was like, go and say what you got to say. And they were like, Dad, they were just like, well, like, what if you're OCD and you don't have time? I go, get out your phone. Let's pull up your screen time. Right. Let's see how much time like you actually have. And she's like, no. Let's not do that. Let's not do that. And I was like, yeah, like this would literally take you 5 minutes to do. So to say that you don't have time, right, is like, I think it's like one of those things where you're just like hardwired, especially as like student athletes, like coming into college, like it's really time consuming. And so it's like, there's just like this false belief of like, they have zero time to do anything.
yeah, no, that's true. That's how I felt too before the injury. It's
Yeah.
like it was just football. Hold on, I'm in a call. I'm on a call. See, it got athletes coming in now. Got athletes coming in now. See, y'all get the real. Y'all get the real. Real
Yeah.
thing. Y'all are getting the real thing. This is not fake.
I love it. So what was like, what's mentally, what are some of the most common conversations you have now that like guys are knocking on your door, right? Like what are some of the most common things that you helped guide them on? Like what are the common themes that you see with the guys there, or just in your experience so far with player development, student athlete development?
So far right now, it's just building relationships, getting them adjusted to Lincoln. So which
Yeah.
is like I'm a muffin, so now I gotta get the freshman adjusted. So, but it's cool. It's cool to just see like them come again and developing them and how I'm able to build these relationships. Just tell my stories too, because I didn't seen it, I done been through it. I got friends that's in the NFL. I got friends that got cut from the NFL. So I'm able to see both sides of it and just share my stories. And I think it's cool just being like a professional, but a big brother in a way too. Because
Yeah.
we're close in age, so you still gotta have that professionalism. So it's cool just to have that time with them and just enjoy it, and just give back. I feel. I don't know. I
So
think
what,
doing God's work, doing God's work.
yeah, we'll go down that rabbit hole. For you is because to me, that's the foundation of everything, like relationships, connections, being able to like connect with people. It's like, if you can't connect, then like nobody's going to listen to you, right? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's a family member. It doesn't matter like if it's a stranger. And so for you coming in there, because you've been there relatively short time, correct? Like in Lincoln. Yeah.
Yep.
So what's been your main focus and like how have you built relationships with the guys there so far? Like, what's like, hey, like when I come in, I got to make sure to do X, Y, and Z so that like I get those connections so that they're knocking on my door, like literally right now.
Honestly, just being me. I think that was the biggest thing with me taking this job. Because I think my supervisor, he's Gus Felder, amazing.
Yeah.
He's terrific at this. I know if he see this, he's gonna hate me saying this. I think he's the coldest at this.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
He's phenomenal. He is phenomenal. You should try to get him too. He is phenomenal at this.
Oh, I'm sold. Yeah. I'm going to help me line that up.
Yeah, he's phenomenal. So just seeing how he carries himself and just seeing how he's a 45-year-old man, but he doesn't fake it at all. He's
Yeah.
able to build relationships with everybody in every age category. And I think that's cool. I think we need more people like that in this field. Not even in this field. I won't even say in this field, in this world, we need more people like that. That's willing to give back and just have that open door policy. So with me, I think it was just the same thing. If I'm able to be myself somewhere, I'm going to be comfortable and it's going to be easy for me to build these relationships and have people knock on my doors right after workouts and just sit
Yeah.
here and talk. Like yesterday, we sat in here for an hour. We got a few freshmen from Iowa. I didn't know about the little cow showing and all that in the corn. It's different types of corn.
Yeah.
It's field corn and like it's sweet corn. I didn't know that. Like
I
just
didn't
learning
either.
these
Yeah. I'm learning
conversations,
too
like
now.
yeah, learning things like that. Like it's something new every day. So it's cool. It's cool.
What, what's the biggest takeaway from Gus so far for you and your time there?
Hey, my biggest takeaway. I got a lot of takeaways on Gus. Dang, I think Gus is incredible. Um, just knowing I could be me. I can be myself. I think
Okay,
that
so like how would you define you? Like if you were to like how did you sell yourself, like getting the job there in terms of like this is who I am and this is what you're gonna get from me, just out of curiosity.
so honestly, when we met, he put a post up on LinkedIn that he was just, doing reaching out to people, just having short conversations with them. But prior to that, I already reached out because I seen his resume. I was like, dang, this man, he's done a lot. That's cool.
Yeah,
I'm trying to get in the door. I'll be honest with you, trying to get in the door. I just needed a toe in the door. I was gonna get everything else in. That's all I need.
yeah,
So just the conversation, I think that was probably one of the easiest conversations I had so far in my life. It was
yeah,
just I was just able to be comfortable. Just tell them about my story, just coming up from Compton, California. If anybody know about Compton, it's a hard place to grow up. And a lot
yeah,
of people don't make it out. I think just telling them my story and how I've came so far. I think that's what it was. Honestly.
yeah,
That's all it was.
yeah. So what inspired you to get out, so to speak, if you will?
Um, I think everything. Everything, just my family environment. I think that was the biggest. I want to create something for my family. I got a little brother, so I wanted to see.
Yeah,
I wanted him to have something to look up to. Other than me just playing football, like you can do it in another category. You could do something else. And it was bigger than my little brother. Seeing other little kids look up to me. I think
yeah,
that's the biggest thing. Not even little kids, just people my age. Me doing
yeah,
things. And the environment I came from, not the richest, wasn't the poorest, but I've came this far and I still got a long way to go. Like my goal is to be a GM. So I think this is
yeah,
an opportunity.
yeah, that's dope. That's dope.
Stuff like this. That's
And I think too is those guys there look up to you, even as close as you are in age. It's like you'll forget, like sometimes you have to almost remember probably like how close you are in their age because like they're asking you questions. It's just like, I figured that out a year ago. Like I'm not too far removed from finding the answer to that question.
that's true. Somebody asked me something the other day. I said, "Hey, I just figured that out. I just did that 2 months ago."
Literally, literally.
I'm gonna be honest with you though. I'm not gonna sugarcoat and act like I've been known this knowledge. No, I just found this out. I learned
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
that's
And
it.
I think too, it's like even like when like I'm talking to athletes, kids, adults, honestly, it's like reminding them like I didn't always think like this, right? Like, it took me 28, 30, 32, like whatever it was. It took me 28 years to figure this out. Like I'm just trying to share it with you so that like hopefully you can be a decade ahead of me and figure it out when you're 18 type thing. So don't confuse that like I wasn't born this way, so to speak. And so, I think sometimes they forget that.
Yeah, they do. They do. But I mean, it's a journey, man. It's a journey. It's fun. It's
It
fun.
is. It is that. So you mentioned faith. How much has that been like a driving factor for you? Like, has that always been in your life? Is that like a newer thing? Like what's kind of your pull towards that?
I would say it's always been in my life, but when I was in Kalamazoo, Michigan, I think it became more of a thing. It became more of a
And
thing. Yes. It was
why? How did that escalate for you?
at the time it was just a lot of things, a lot of life things going on. I was like, okay, I'm tired of stressing. I'll be honest with y'all. Don't nobody
Yeah.
want to stress. I'm too young. I don't want to look old.
Yeah.
I don't want to look old. So I started praying. I started praying. I got baptized. I started going to church, and I just seen things changing in my life. The things I was praying for start coming true. And I was like, dang, okay,
Yeah.
if I just stick by this and just really believe, because somebody always taught me faith of a mustard seed. And
Hmm.
it always sticks in my head now, no matter what I'm going through, I just talk to God. And I think people get confused on how to pray. I think it's a simple conversation. Like you talking to one of your friends. You don't have to know.
Yeah.
God already knows you. So I think that was the biggest thing, is just having simple conversations. Like I pray for this. I will be
That's
honest.
funny. That's
All of
funny.
this came true. I had to tell myself this morning, like, dang, this is really happening. This is crazy. I gotta call. I gotta call. I'm on the Zoom today. This is crazy. These
That's
things
wild.
were wished for now is really happening. Now I'm able to share my story.
Yeah. Yeah. Where do you feel like most people like what are they confused about in prayer? Like, because I'm sure it's like you get to be around like the age of like confusion, right? Like 18 to 22. Like you're trying to figure things out. And for a lot of people, it's their first time on their own. And honestly, is I would say it's the first time for people having to make decisions in their life. For a lot of those kids, if you will, young adults, is like the only decision they've ever made is like where they want to go to school, right? And some didn't even make that. Some were probably influenced by society or like I'll never forget is I know a kid that like almost went to their second favorite school essentially because they were like everyone assumes I'm going to go to choice A, and so it's like I want to shock the world on Instagram. I was like, so you literally want to make a decision for something that's going to last for like 24 hours, right? Like that you can make a post. And so I think there's just like people get pulled and like to them it's like that made sense in their brain. I was like, no, that logically makes zero sense. And so helping them, like, hey, make decisions for yourself. And so in those conversations with like this age group, if you're talking to them about like faith and prayer and things like that, it's like, where's like, I guess like where's the disconnect on like what they feel they have to do in prayer or what they feel like what type of relationship they feel like they have to have with God versus like no, like it's super simple. It's like we're having a conversation, just like go talk like that, right? Like where do you think the disconnect is with a lot of like young adults, kids?
I can use myself as example. I say you just don't know where to start. I think
Mm,
you don't know where to start.
that's
Because
actually really good.
for me, it was like I just didn't know where to start. I just didn't know where to start. Didn't know what to talk about. I
Yeah,
didn't know what to talk about everything. I didn't know if I had to hold some things back in my head. Because you are a lot of people, I'll say myself, you're afraid to open up sometimes. A lot of people are
yeah,
afraid to.
totally.
You get cool in your comfort zone, you want to keep it in. And I think if you keep it in, it only kills you in the inside.
Yeah, totally.
So you have to let it out. And I think that's what I'm able to share now. Like if somebody is or somebody does come with that conversation, you just gotta let it out. Just talk to him. Like you talking to me right now, talk to him.
Yeah, yeah,
He's better than me.
yeah,
So you feel comfortable talking to me, you can talk to him.
yeah,
Oh, I'm
yeah.
cool, but I'm not that cool.
Why do you think people hold so many things in? Because I do. It's like I totally agree. Is like, and I think that boils down to like relationships too. The ability to like extract those things from people is what makes a good mentor, makes a good coach. Honestly, even just like an actual like football coach, right? Like that, the ability to be able to extract information. Yet most people don't. Why do you feel like most people hold it in?
I think we're just scared. I think just being in this world now, we're always on this. We're always on this. So if we can't tweet it, Instagram post it, then we see other people's lives. Like somebody's in Turk and Caicos, and we out here in Lincoln, Nebraska or something. Just using that
Yeah.
here in Lincoln, Nebraska in the hot instead of on the beach. you're afraid to open up to show what you're really going through. I think that's what it is, but you just gotta live life for you. I think people take life too serious. I was having a conversation. People take life too serious. Like we're here to meant to enjoy it. We need to enjoy it.
Yeah.
So me, I think I live every day to the fullest. I don't walk in here sad. I walk in here with a smile because I pray for this. This is what I want.
Yeah.
It's happening. So I'm like,
Yeah.
advantage of it and have fun with it.
Yeah. It makes me think of it's like I read this somewhere one time. It's like, don't forget the situation you're in now. It's like you once like prayed for or like wished for. And like we're so quick to like forget, right? Because we're always like, and that's okay because like we're always on to the next thing. And that's okay because like we want to grow. Like ultimately, that's kind of like a large reason of life is to continue to grow. Like you don't want to just help, like you don't want to stay stuck. If you're 30, you don't want to be 30 for the next 30 years, right? Like you want to continue to grow and evolve. Um, and so, yeah, I think that like remembering, like you said, showing up. And then for that is like people feed off of that energy
Mhm.
because then they know that like, oh, like it's possible to actually live happy.
Exactly.
Because I think most of them just don't know.
Yeah, and we just scared. We scared to ask these questions. I mean, myself, I was scared to ask these questions, but I think having a mentor and just looking up to people is cool. It's gonna help you learn off people failed mistakes.
Yeah.
You don't have to
Yeah.
fail. Learn from other people's.
And I was literally, again, reading this the other day is like, it takes too long to try to figure it out by yourself, right? Like, versus I can ask you, and it's like, I can condense that decade of like figuring it out into like a week by just a conversation. And it's like, we don't have enough time to figure it all out. So it's like, curiosity is like the best thing that I always say. It's like, that's one of the most powerful things I can give you is like the ability to be curious, like just ask a million questions.
And if they don't want to answer it, hey, at least you asked. At least you got it off your chest.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, I guarantee you, especially that like you're in player development role now is like, of all the ones that I've talked to, it's like, once you got that role, it's like your inbox, your LinkedIn inbox is probably
Yeah.
rapidly filled up.
Which is so crazy. It's like I think it's funny because the people I reached out to before was not responding, but now I got the job. Everybody want to hit me up. Like that's so crazy. That is so crazy how a title really gets people changes your perspective on life. That is wild to me.
And like, and in your brain, you're like, I literally didn't change, but now the perception of me has changed
Yeah.
now.
I'm the same person I was. Well, I can't say I'm the same person. I'm trying to elevate every day, but
No,
it's
I
the
follow
same
you.
thing.
Yeah.
It's the same
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, it's crazy. Titles. People get wrapped up in
Yeah.
titles.
Okay. So here's a question too is all those people that reach out to you, this is what I ask, do they ask the right questions or do they just like ask for favors?
I think it's a little bit of both.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of both. I think because we recently had an analyst job open. I probably got
Hmm.
30 DMs. I'm like, dang. Now, when I was reaching out to people on something serious, nobody was replying. Now, 30 people are asking me, can I help them get this job? It's like, that is crazy to me.
Yeah.
And in that department, that has nothing to do with me. But I get it. You got to reach out to who you think might help you. So I get it. It is crazy now. It is crazy.
Yeah. It's just tough to like, I don't know that I feel like that's like the hard part of, especially with young adults and college kids is like to ask the right questions versus just asking for favors. Like, hey, can you do this for me? Because not a whole lot of people are, it's like, it, like you're busy, you have things to do, you got 100 guys to like talk to, and guys coming and beating down your door. It's like some rando on LinkedIn. It's like I don't like I kind of want to help you, but like I don't really feel inclined to. Versus like if they're like asking the right questions that like help you out, and then when they like if they need something down the road, it's like you're more inclined to be like, yeah, sure, like I can't guarantee anything, but like I'll like name drop like for you or something like that. And so I just feel like a lot of them are like super confused. It's like they just reach out and assume that like people are going to do favors for them, and I'm like, it's not really the way the world works. Like there has to be some kind of like give and take here, not just, oh, give to me, give to me, give to me.
Exactly. Like build a relationship with me first. I don't know. Get to know me. Let me get to know you. Cause I think that's what I always did. Try to build a relationship. Cause you never know if you are gonna need that person or need
Yeah.
that. They're
Yeah.
more likely to help you. But you just inboxing me for a favor. That's a lot, man. That's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy, crazy, crazy. All right. So future pace, like you said, you want to be like a GM. So where you are now to like being a GM one day, what's kind of like for you? Is there anything like in between that like really stands out of like things you want to accomplish, areas you want to grow in? Like between now and then, like what's your growth and expansion look like?
I say areas I want to grow in is probably my leadership. I think I want to grow that just leadership and just being able to build the genuine connections, just able to learn and maneuver around different people. I think still learning the football side of it, because being a GM, you have to learn the football side, learn the
Right.
football side, and then just learn it behind the scenes. I think that's the biggest thing. I think this staff here is amazing. Everybody's either worked in the NFL, played in the NFL, so I'm at the right place at the right time. So just
Yeah.
able to brush shoulders with people that's in this building and just learn off them, even if I'm not close to them, just being able to watch. I think that's the biggest thing. So I think growing in every category. I think every category I need to grow. I'm only 26, so
Yeah.
like what?
Yeah.
Just living, like I said, living life to the fullest and growing. Don't be closed off
What
to new ideas.
totally, right? What are like I'm like genuinely curious is how does one get to be a GM?
I think connections.
Yeah.
Some connections and the right timing.
Yeah.
Get
Yeah,
you.
like I didn't know like if there was like because right like I know it's called like player engagement in the NFL. It's a little bit same thing, just different terminology, I guess. So I didn't know if it was like that to like is there positions like in the like front office that like you can continue to like elevate to experience and then kind of like work your way up because that's a world that's very unfamiliar to me in terms of like how to become a GM, how to like grow to that position.
I would assume you'll have to take them steps, but I think I'm taking it day by day, taking it day by day and staying prayed up. So it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Then we're gonna have this conversation again when I'm in
Dude,
the office. It's gonna
yeah,
happen.
yeah, yeah,
Taking it day by day and just like I say, man, you gotta live. I don't think I think that's just been my biggest saying right now. Living life to the fullest. Just having fun with it. Don't stress too much.
yeah,
Enjoy it. Kick back. Like I think today and tomorrow we got a senior retreat. We're going to the lake house. So just having
yeah,
fun, building new connections, and really learning the game too, because that's gonna help me excel. You
yeah,
can't work in the office, not know the game. It's kind of backwards.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So when you guys are you more because you talked about a lot of like the new faces coming in, the freshmen coming in, is that like one of your primary roles is to like take on like the incoming freshmen? Tell me a little bit about that too. It's like how do you um like what are the things that like you're helping them like transition into? What are some of the conversations like that you're having with them just to get them acclimated and accustomed and to because I'm assuming, right? It's like there's a chunk of those guys that it's like, hey, here in a couple months, we need you to perform as well, right? It's not like everybody's like, hey, let's redshirt everybody, right? Like that's just not the reality of it. And so it's like getting them acclimated quickly, getting them comfortable, getting them, used to all the things. So what does that look like for you? How have you gone about like that transition period and helping them, uh, just get comfortable there?
So our first week we had well, well, it wasn't my first week, but our first week, just report day week, we had an event every day for the freshmen after
Oh
practice.
wow, yeah, yeah,
So that Monday we had laser tag, Tuesday we had community service, Wednesday we had bowling, then Thursday we went to see the new Bad Boys movie. And
yeah.
Friday,
Okay, yeah,
so we made sure like they know who their 24 class is. Then I think the following week we had the mid-year freshmen, the ones that came in January, then the summer freshmen. We all went to dinner and just showing them like this is their class now, and just building
yeah.
that relationship. And I think it's just trying to change the culture. So I think the one of the biggest things they was talking about is just trying to change the culture. This is a new Nebraska. It's not the Nebraska
Yeah.
5 years ago, 10 years ago. I think what Coach Rule is doing here, he's a real culture person, and I think it's working. You could just see it in the locker rooms and everything around the building. Like it's a family atmosphere here. So I think
Yeah.
building that family atmosphere, getting them adjusted to that, like this is new. It's not about you. It's about the team. It's about the Huskers. It's about Nebraska.
Yeah.
Real big on community service. So this Saturday we went to Habitat for Humanity and we painted the whole building. So it was
Yeah.
cool. It's a cool atmosphere to be around. And it's not only helping them get adjusted, it's helping me too, because I'm new out here too. I think that
Yeah.
the thing is the heat. Oh, it's the terrible, terrible.
It's actually, yeah, like that. You'll remember that class like forever. Is I think of my very first. I interned at IMG for like a while ago, and fortunately, the head strength coach was brand new on my internship, and so like he sat with us like in the cafeteria because he was new. He didn't really know anybody, and so it's like that connection, like that class of like freshmen, is like it's probably the closest group of guys like you'll ever be. Like it'll never be that like that because it's like you're new too.
And that's how it feels now. It's just having these conversations. Like that was them knocking on my doors because they left at 6:30. So
Yeah,
it was cool. Like, dang, yeah, I am. I could just feel the connections, but it's still that professionalism you got to keep because we're close in age. But it's
totally.
because I can share my stories. I was
Yeah,
about 3, 4 years ago, so
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I was doing all this too. I hated it too sometimes, but it's fun. You just gotta enjoy it, man. You gotta enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah. I know you weren't there like prior, um, like prior culture, but from like what you've heard, what you've understood, maybe conversations with guys, like what's been like the biggest like new culture shift versus like in previous years?
I think the biggest thing is this: it feels like a family atmosphere now. And for me coming in, I can already tell that.
Yeah.
Yep. So, cause actually the DC Tony White he recruited me in high school.
That's a
So
small world.
kitchen too. It's super small world. So me having that connection is like, dang, okay, he's here. He recruited me. He kind of know me a little bit, know where I came from. So that's cool. Now seeing him here doing things like it's like, dang, it is crazy how everything just falls into order. So I think the big it's a family atmosphere. It's a cool environment here. And the facilities are amazing. I'll be honest. They are amazing. New building and everything. It is top notch.
Yeah. Yeah. What's the like what's the dream outcome for like the team like this season? Like what's the thing? Because it's new, right? Like, is it like, I mean, obviously Buzz, like you asking about, it's like we want to be national champs. But it's like, what is the mentality for you guys to be able to build a championship caliber program that doesn't just happen like I call it building the dynasty, right? Like don't be the one hit wonder. How do we don't necessarily win it every year, but like I'll be damned if we're not competing for things like that every single year. So what's been kind of the building blocks of like getting the guys to like focus on now?
So I think the saying they got around here is chasing three. So I think they lost 3 or 4 games by 3 points. So
Ah,
you can actually check out the little documentaries on YouTube. The production team, they do an amazing job. It's phenomenal. Jalen and his crew, they're killing it. So it's called
yeah,
chasing 3 points. So that's the biggest thing, taking it one day at a time. Each practice, each game, each lift, chasing three. Like that's the mentality and one better. So they always break down on one better.
yeah, yeah. Interesting. I like that. I like that. So is it just you and Gus there?
Yeah, it's just me and Gus, and we have a student assistant or player assistant. He's a player on the team, senior. He's been helping out Gus for a long time. Elliot Brown, he's from Omaha. He hosts his own football camps and everything. The dude's amazing, honestly. I call him Mr. Nebraska.
That's hilarious. That's hysterical.
Dude is phenomenal.
So, I know like guys in your position, like some of the other ones I talk to, it's like you have to like build out programming like for the team in terms of like player development or student athlete development. Um, what does your program look like if you will, in terms of because I'm sure like maybe like when you interviewed with Gus, it's like, hey, like you're gonna have to build some things out. Like, how would you go about that? And so since you've been there, what are some of the things that like you've built out? And then what are the things that like future pace in the sense of like this is what I want to be able to build out in the next 6 months, 12 months, 2 years, however long you want to be there.
So I think right now my time has really just been on building the relationships, building
Yeah.
relationships with the athletes. That's been the biggest thing for me so far right now. But I think future things, we got a lot going on. So a lot of people don't know how to swim. So we teach gonna have like that's life skills. We're gonna teach people
Yeah.
how to tread water, things like that, how to tie a tie. So we've ordered like 100, 200 ties to teach people how to tie a tie. So we're gonna do it.
Interesting.
We're doing things like that just to help them prepare for the real world. And it's a lot of things I want to do in the future. Is just interview prep workshops. Bring not even bring people in here. I think that's the biggest. That's what I like Gus a lot. It's not just about bringing people. He want us to learn it first, and if we can present it, we don't need to bring somebody in. And we
Yeah.
have money on something else, taking the guys golfing, doing things like that. So when we get back for a break, I'm going bowling with a couple of the freshmen. Cause I'll be honest, they beat me last time. By like I gotta get my revenge too. So
Yeah.
it's about them, but I'm gonna get my revenge. I'm still a competitor. I like losing.
Totally. Totally.
So I think that's the biggest thing, just building the relationships, and we're also taking them to the Omaha Zoo because
Okay.
Omaha Zoo is something big in this
Yeah.
world. I heard it's big in the world, so we're gonna take them there because a lot of them are from out of town. They haven't been to the zoo, so we're gonna get a sprinter van. We're gonna head out there. So it's just showing them different things, putting them in different situations. I think that's the biggest part. Just yeah, showing them Nebraska, getting their face out.
Yeah.
Nebraska is a big football place. So the more we're
Yeah.
able to give back and just have fun with the guys and build them relationships, everything else will just, I think it'll just trickle down for them. Because I think them the
Yeah.
things I wish I would have had in college, it would have made college way smoother. The process would have been smoother. I wouldn't have to jump over as many hurdles as I did to get to this place.
Yeah. Do you feel like in conversations with them, is you talked about like for you personally, now I know yours was like an injury and kind of struggling with like the identity crisis. That's like my jam. Like we could talk about that for like the next 12 hours. Do you feel like in your conversation so far there is a little bit of a common theme is like, and maybe guys don't even know it yet, but it's like in conversations, like the only thing they talk about is football, right? And so it's like, I know you're in a good place right now, but it's like we've got to expand, right? Like we've got to see yourself like as more. Otherwise, like at some point you're going to hit the roadblock, right? And like I've personally witnessed it from guys being at Heisman Trophy ceremonies, being top five NFL first round like draft picks, doing all the things, and then like even having careers, and then at 30, then they're crying because it's just like, wait, what? But they've had so much success, they're just like, no, they put it off like forever. And so, do you see that like now? And maybe some guys are just experiencing it. Maybe guys knocking on your door, it's like that's the conversations that they want to have now. But do you see that as a theme?
And some people I can see it because like it's crazy when you play the game and you've been around so many football players, you can just pick it up. It's easy just to from
Yeah,
one conversation you get like, okay, this is all you think you have is football, which is cool, but that's why God brought me here to help you. Like, you can go to the NFL, but the NFL gonna end. Like,
yeah,
if you're not gonna play till you're 40, everybody's not Tom Brady, everybody's not LeBron James. Nobody
yep,
can do that. Two people in the world that can do that. And them
right,
are the two people. So that's gonna end at 30. You have a long life to live. So if you build it up now, the 30s and your 40s is gonna be easy. You could kick back and chill. So I think that's the
yeah,
main getting involved, getting your face out in the community. Because you don't know who you're gonna bump shoulders with. Networking, big.
totally,
Networking is everything. Like I said, I wouldn't be in this job without networking. I took a chance.
yeah,
I am an introvert. I do not like talking. I like chilling back and just observing everything. I'm an observer. I like reading people. So for me
yeah,
to do that was a lot. But now I landed this job, so it worked out. So just to like I said, sharing your story. I think a lot of people don't share their story because they're
yeah,
afraid you're embarrassed by it. But if you share, like that's just showing you who you really are. Don't fake the funk.
And it's funny that, I mean, again, that is literally like what actually builds the connection because 9 times out of 10, you go, hey, I had an identity crisis. And they go, oh, me too. Now we have a bond, right? Like now the conversation kicks off versus the highlight reels, right? Like trying to put on the front. And I think too, it's like I've always said this, um, like when I've gone into teams and I'm very, very, very different than like anybody else that they've ever had, just from like an energy and things that we talk about. And I go, you know what would be the worst thing in the world is if I conformed to like all the other people that come in here, like them or love them, and then they hired me for 9 months to be here because now I'd have to show up as somebody I'm not for 9 months, and that's exhausting. I would rather be me and you tell me no, and I don't get the deal than like be somebody I'm not, and then like have to like fake it till I make it, right? Like that's just exhausting. And I think that's how a lot of people live their lives. It's like they go into an interview and like fake somebody that they're not. Now they got to go to a job and like literally pretend to be somebody that they're not. And that's exhausting.
It is. It is. It is. I've been there. I've been there in my life. It's exhausting because you can't just be you. You can't be your authentic self because you don't feel like you're gonna be accepted, which is terrible to feel because you can't be you. Why are you there? Yeah.
and like trying to like even in it like even if we're talking like a job interview is like trying to give off a perception of your personality that's like literally like just not you, right? And so I think that like I don't know, I think that's a lot of people is they go into a job interview, they go into a recruiting meeting, they come to you and it's like, okay, let me tell you everything that I think that you want to hear so that I can land this job. Versus like, I'm like, I promise it doesn't make sense to you right now, but like it's not worth the money to get that job, to get that opportunity and literally have to be somebody that you're not. And then you're just hardwiring yourself to like be stressed for the rest of your life because that's how you wake up every morning. Because it's like I call it like putting on the costume, right? Like you just now like you dress so that you can go walk out the door and be somebody that you're not, and come home and like drink the beer because you're exhausted from from the day because like you had to fake it all day long.
Yeah. And I think when you fake it and you hate the job you at, the weekends go by so fast.
Right?
You go by so fast. Monday comes so fast. Then you gotta do it all over again. So it's very hard. I think where I'm at now, this doesn't. I hate. I used to hate when people say when you love something, it doesn't feel like work. I thought that
Right,
was.
right.
I thought that was the dumbest saying ever. I would be completely honest with you all. I thought that was so dumb. But I'm like, dang, I do love what I do. It's really not work for me.
But
It's
like,
really
okay, so
fun.
right, but here's the fascinating part with that too, is like you probably don't even think about taking weekends off because it's just fun. Like that is fun. So where everyone's like, I want to go kayaking and I want to climb the mountain, I want to go to the zoo. And it's like, oh, it's like I just want to work. You're like, what do you mean you want to work? You're like, because that is my zoo, right? That is my fun.
Cool for me. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it. Like I said,
Yeah.
other than that sun and the heat, I'm enjoying it. It's hot out here, y'all. It's hot. It's hot. I'll be
And I
honest.
think that, like, honestly, is if we're relating it to sports too, is that is where there's a disconnect because I feel like I don't know him. I've never spoken to him, but I feel like if I did speak to him, is like if you talk to the Tom Brady's or the LeBrons that were able to play that long, is like the work was the fun. And so
Yep.
it's like that's why they were able to make it so long versus everybody else. It's like they can only have the 5 year career because they're like, I don't really want to work out. I don't really want to stay in shape. I don't really want to eat all the right things. I don't that's exhausting. And so they only make it 5 years versus 20 years because they're like, but like I actually enjoy like just being out there and like working hard.
Yeah, that's true. You hit it on the head with that one, man. Hit it on the head with that one.
I mean, I just and so yeah, like I said, it's like identity's my thing, and I think just like getting them to, and I say them, people, honestly, like in general, because there's a lot of grown people that have like worked a job for 40 years, and they're like, it's not bad. I'm like, I always say this, the analogy is like if you got married and they're like, hey, like, do you love this person? You're like 60%, right? Like, probably chose the wrong one.
I don't know. I didn't know. Last. I agree. I agree
And
with
I
that
think
one.
that's how people choose their careers. They're just like, do you love it? It's like 60%. It's like you wouldn't get married to somebody you only love 60%. So why would you do something for basically the rest of your life that like you love 60%?
I gotta steal that one. I like that one. I gotta steal that one.
Right? Like, because I think that like it turns into the analogy like with sports too, right? Because in some right, like that's like the common you're married to the game. Are you? Right? Like you throw that word around, I'm married to the game, yet you cheat on it almost every single day.
Stuff. That's cheating again. You're not married to it. It's a terrible marriage. You need a divorce.
Because they and I think this is like common amongst like people too, is I think people they're not doing as much as they think they are. And I think in this scenario, they're not as committed as they think they are. They're like, no, 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 like I'm really committed to the game. And it's like, are you, or are you 60% committed?
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. That's my soapbox. It's my TED talk for the day. All right. Going back to one of the things you brought up in terms of like growth for you, like becoming a GM and probably like in this role now is like you brought up leadership. And so what's a powerful leader look like for you, or like what are areas in terms of like leadership for you to grow in? Because I think that that's every coach, every mentor is like your ability to lead. Everybody's got a little bit different outtake on it, but curious of like what it means and looks like for you.
Honestly, I think a good leader doesn't kiss butt. I think a good leader knows how to
Facts.
be themselves. I think that's what a good leader is. I think Matt Rule is a great leader. Gus is a great leader because they don't kiss butt. They are them 110% of the day. I think
Yeah.
that's what I needed in my life. If I wanted to
Yeah.
become that, I needed to be around people who are already that.
So rewind, did you have, or maybe you still do, an element of like people pleasing inside of you, like growing up, or like that's like one of like your big takeaways is like I can't be a people pleaser. It's like I gotta be me. Like I'm not gonna kiss your butt, I'm not gonna kiss your ass, I'm not gonna sugarcoat shit. Like this is the way it is. Um, like were you more leaning towards like the people pleaser
No,
previously?
I've never been a people pleaser. I don't believe in that. But when I was at my last stop, when I had a cup of coffee, somebody told me sometimes you gotta kiss butt, and I was like, oh yeah, this is not gonna work here. This is not gonna work
Yeah.
here.
Oh, I see what you mean now.
Yeah, that's when it trickled down. I said, yeah, I gotta get out of here. Cause
I
if
see what you mean now.
I can't be here. I can't bow down to nobody. One, I'm from Compton. I came from nothing to get here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Somebody, but that's crazy to me. That is crazy. Then having the conversations, just first meeting Gus, then I was like, okay. Ooh, then a job opened up. Then he reached out again. He said, would you like to interview? It's like, oh yeah, yes. Which is crazy. When he called me, I was walking my dog too at the time.
That's
So
funny.
it popped up. It's like a regular number. I wasn't gonna answer it because I'm walking, got the music playing, I'm chilling.
Yeah.
Let me just pick it up. It might be important. Then it's him. I said, oh yeah, of course. He called me on a Thursday. I interviewed Friday. I got the job on Tuesday.
It happens fast. It
So I
happens
think
fast. Pack up
that's
the U-Haul and move your ass.
yeah, man. I packed up so fast. Crib was packed up. Everything was gone. I said, yeah, I'm gone. I got in the car, drove 9 hours.
That's funny. Yeah, yeah. So how'd y'all first meet? What was the first interaction that you guys had for him to like even just know who you were and for him to reach out to you?
So yeah, like I would say monthly. He posts something on LinkedIn. He just want to,
Uh-huh.
network with different people. And so it was like a 15-minute Zoom call. So that's really it.
Oh.
15-minute Zoom call. We was just talking and just stay connected. Then so the job was open prior to me even talking to him. So I've been reached out, but he just never,
Yeah.
not gonna lie, he gonna see this. He never hit me back. He never hit me back. He was hitting me back, but then he didn't get it. I get it. He was busy. Now that I'm here, it get busy. It do get busy.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
It be too mad. I was a little hot at the time. Yeah, because when he reached back out to me, he was all, yeah, let's set up a Zoom call. I'm like, dang. In my head, like, man, I've been reached out to you. I was been trying to do this before you even posted that. But
Yeah,
I'm gonna take my little time. I'm gonna take the little 15 minutes you go get me. So that's
yeah, yeah,
really how it
yeah.
happened. That's really how it happened. It was a great conversation. So Gus is real big on cigars and Legos. So that was different. It was cool. It's like, man,
That's hysterical.
he could really be him. He got a whole Lego setup. It's crazy. It is cool.
What did he say? Like, what was it about you? Because I actually I do follow him on LinkedIn, and I do remember that, like, what we were talking about, those posts of like, hey, like, he's like, I got like 5 slots or like whatever, and like I'll help some people out, kind of type thing. Um, what was it about you that stood out to him? Did he tell you that?
He didn't tell me that yet. I didn't ask that yet.
Yeah,
I should ask that soon. I didn't ask it yet. I didn't ask it
yeah,
yet. I don't know if it was because of what I've accomplished and I'm still young. Maybe it's that. I don't know. I didn't ask that yet. That's a good
yeah.
question. Hopefully he
Because I
comments and say it. I don't know. We're gonna see.
tells the world. Yeah, because I feel like we all need those, like, I call it like building your deck of cards, like those reminders of like, because we all have tough days, right? And we all have like moments of like, whether it be doubt or just like before you're having a conversation, and it's like those good reminders of like, oh yeah, like, dude, Gus told me like I'm badass, like, and here's why, blah 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 blah. Yeah, so I was just curious of like what stood out, because I'm sure, again, I'm sure his email and inbox was flooded when he posted that job of literally probably hundreds.
At 140 applications,
That's what he said he had, 140.
140 plus. I said, ooh. I said, ooh, I
That's
stood
wild.
out. Oh, ooh. I stood out. I don't know how. Shout out to God. I stood out. All I can say.
But like, there was something, I guarantee you. I actually wish this was like a three-way conversation right now, but I can like, there's like one of the conversations I always have with the athletes. Got back, so I was at a camp in Auburn, and everybody's like, nah, I'm not interested in this. I was like, okay, like if the coach walked in here right now and said, I'll give you a full scholarship for 4 years based off of your answer to this question. And the question is, what value do you bring to this team? I said, I guarantee you, either most of you wouldn't know, or two, you would throw out the 5 fastest buzzwords of like, I got positive energy, I work hard, like I'm super engaged, right? Like I'm a leader. And like of 100 people, you would all say the same thing. And so I would bet is like there was something in there that like 139 people said. And it's like you said something differently. And it was like, right, it's stuck in emotion with him. It's like that's what we need, right? Like, it's like, and maybe it was something is like, I ain't gonna kiss ass. And he was like, yep, that's what I want. Versus everybody else was like potential, and I'm making this example up, but everybody else probably like, I'll do whatever you need, right? Like I'll do whatever you want. And you come in and it's just like, I'm not gonna kiss ass. Like I work hard, but like I ain't kissing nobody's ass. Like I'm gonna come in, build connections, and like that's just gonna be that. It's like that's what I want.
I think the cool part, like I said, I'm able to be myself here. I'm able to
Yeah.
be myself. So, like, I'm from Compton, California. I listen to country music. Okay, I like country music.
Was it the WVU that rubbed off?
Honestly, no. Well, I mean, that did take it the extra extreme. Well,
Yeah.
it started at New Mexico. It started at New Mexico.
Oh, that's true too. Yeah.
Started in New
Yeah.
Mexico. So the first little country person I heard was Thomas Rhett, and I fell in love. I fell in love. I said, this man's amazing. Then I started listening to Morgan Wallen, Luke Combs. I said, I've been missing out my whole life.
Right. Right.
So I'm
From
able to have this
Future and Migos to Thomas Rhett.
Yes. I'm able to have this connection with everybody. This is not fake. I listen to country music.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a country station out here. You turn my car on, that's what's playing. You're gonna
Yeah.
listen to it if you're riding in this car. That's what I listen to. This is not fake. This is not me
Yeah.
trying to be cool with you. No, this is what I do.
Yeah.
Martin is in Denver this weekend. I'm going.
That's hysterical.
Morgan Wallen. I've never been to a country concert. I've been to every other concert, R&B, hip hop. Is there? You good? You good? Yeah.
They don't stop coming.
Nah, that's the main man. That's the main man.
Oh, that's the
Man. That's the
boss.
equipment. That's the equipment man.
Toiletries for now.
I love it. I love it. Well, cool, man. I know we're kind of reaching top of the hour. Is I'm gonna ask you one more question. And I didn't. I guess if you listen to an episode, you know, like the final question. But last question I'll ask you: if you were in a stadium with 100,000 people and you could only leave them with one message, what would your message be?
I'm gonna say it again. Live life to the fullest and have fun.
Okay. Yeah.
Stay prayed up and stay paid up. You're gonna have fun in life.
Yeah. Yeah. Dude, yeah. I love your energy, man. Like I definitely feel that that's like real in the sense of like just have fun. Like I mean literally before we even hit record and like we're talking like before the show, you're just like, dude, let's have a good time. Dude, let's have a good time. Dude, let's have a good time. And so I think like more just programs and people honestly like in general like need that because I feel like a lot of people are like so tense. Like I got to get the job, I got to make the money, I got to do the things, I got to build the relationships versus like just allowing those things to like flow to you. Um, and it sounds like that's kind of like how you landed there. It's like you just kind of didn't stress about it. You got on a 15-minute Zoom call and just probably just shot the shit and was you for 15 minutes. And like that drew him in. Right. And I feel like that's more important and impactful like in people's lives. And there's a lot that's missing. Very common. Very common.
A lot of people get focused on the money, and I think the money gonna come. The
Yeah.
money's gonna come. Don't chase the title, don't chase the money, chase the opportunity and the growth. I think that's what I chase. I chase the opportunity and I chase the growth.
And to me, yeah. And that to me, that comes all the way back to like identity because it's like the idea here is like the money, yes, the tangible thing, but it's also it's who you become along the way. Because if you continue to grow, it's like you said, the money will come. It's like people will crave you and people will offer you endless amounts of money because they're just drawn to you based off of like just who you are like as a person.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, the money
I
gonna
love it.
come. Like I always tell people, be the change, man. Change wherever you at, change the environment, change yourself.
Yeah. Yep. And like, just like there's people knocking on your door literally as we're having this conversation. It's like those are the people that like you'll strike an emotion with them and they'll like remember you forever. I didn't think that. And I was actually, do you remember BJ Daniels played quarterback at South Florida? It's been a few years like in the NFL. I know he's with the Seahawks for a couple seasons. Kind of bounced around.
A little bit.
A little bit. Yeah. So I like was talking with him. I did an episode with him like several months ago. And he actually pointed something out to me. He's like, Ryan, like, do you remember like who's the one coach that like had the greatest impact in your life? And like I'd said it like that. He's like, see, he's like, you'll be that person for a lot of other people. And I was like, damn, dude, that's like really powerful. Right. Like you kind of like forget. It's like people you don't want, maybe you don't even talk to, but 10 years from now, they're gonna be like, who is the person? And they're gonna be like you. And so it's like remembering that through like the conversations and the connections. Super powerful.
That's crazy because I brought up Steve as soon as we started this conversation.
Right? Like who's the one? It's like almost everybody in our positions can like name that person. And so it's like you will and probably already have been that person for at least one person.
Dang, that's crazy. That's
Crazy to think about. Right? It's wild. Wow. Well, cool, dude. I appreciate it, man. I had a blast. I appreciate you coming on. Like I said, is like, and like you said countless times in this conversation, the reason for the podcast is stories, right? I feel like people connect with stories and, everybody's got their own story and, not everybody connects with everyone's story. And so it's like getting as many stories out there as possible. So I appreciate you. Appreciate it, man.
I appreciate you for doing this. I think this is amazing.
Maybe we'll go round 2 one day. Maybe we'll do a 3-way, me, you, and Gus round 2.
I gotta see if I can make that happen. We're gonna see.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Well, I appreciate it. Until next time, everybody. Peace.